Alright, welcome to the Heralding Cannabis video on what is a watch list. Alright guys, so we kind of hear this term all the time. We probably read about it on, social media posts or in chat forums or in, places where we research stocks. And that's the word watch list. There's a lot of new traders out there, especially that want to trade penny pot stocks. And you probably get emails that say, check out my watch list, or videos that say, look at my watch list, or I'm going to send you the best watch list every single Sunday because I'm rich. Yeah, well, some people don't even know what a watch list is. And so for those of you that don't, a watch list is a list of companies that people watch while they're trading stocks. Pretty simple, I know, but there's terms out there, there's jargon, associated with trading that when thrown out there all willy-nilly, people might not understand, people might not know. And when people don't understand and when people don't know, they are hesitant. They don't want to trade, they don't want to learn, they don't want to research, they don't want to have fun. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at different kinds of watch lists. We're going to mainly look at all pot stocks today, obviously, because that's what we do here is penny pot stocks. So most of the stocks you're going to see today are going to be over the counter, OTC. There are a bunch of big boys too, but mainly what we do at T.H.C. is we kind of monitor and add and create watch lists. So again, a watch list is a list of companies that you create to watch. So let's go ahead and click one of these. Let's click that one right at the top, pot stocks list number 1. So as you can see on this list, we have quite a bit of pot stocks here. These are all, I would say more risky cannabis stocks out there. A lot of these are definitely way beyond risky in my book. Some of these have had and still have yield signs / skull and crossbones on them. So please, do not take this as a invest in all these now type video, because that's not what we do here. This is a list of cannabis stocks that we look at that we do find a little bit more risky, but that's not to say that these stocks won't graduate up into definitely more confident kind of holdings or positions. Some of these actually do already. I haven't actually updated this one in a long time. But basically, as you can see, a watch list is the list of companies that's associated with the list. So why would you create a list? Well, as you can see, you create a list for what you're wanting to watch. I mean, I even have a gold one. There's 2 stocks on it, and I have no clue what they are. I think I put them on there like 4 years ago. But you can create a gold watch list if you want. You can create, or you don't even have to create. You can use the ones that TD Ameritrade gave you. I've deleted a bunch of them that they gave us, but I still kept like the indexes one. So this one has the Dow Jones, the S&P, the NASDAQ, all that good stuff. And then also I just renamed the other default one that they give you. And this is the one that has like Apple, Netflix, and all those guys, Facebook. So realistically, the ideal situation when you're trading is that you want to be the one that creates the watch list. You can get other watch lists from other people, but again, all a watch list is just a list of companies. You've already seen 3 of my watch lists right now, but I didn't say anything about buying and selling stocks, did I? It's because the watch list is just a list for you to monitor, for you to research, for you to study, to see how the stocks within that watch list are behaving in the market. Because maybe if you find patterns, or if you start to understand something, or you start realizing how to catch news or catch timings on some of these trades, you'll be there. You'll know. It'll be on your list. You'll get the alert way before anybody else sends it to you in email. So let's go to a way better cannabis list and go through actually what sort of columns and analytics and stuff that are on these things. So this watch list, as you can see, I'll scroll a little bit slower, is a way better watch list when considering cannabis stocks. A lot of these stocks on here obviously might not stay on this list. Things get upgraded and downgraded all the time. like Vapor there. They're probably not going to be on this list much longer, but they've had quite a bit of action recently, so we did make a trade a little while ago. So they were on here. This list obviously is, the main Canvas list. So this is the list that when I sign into my TD Ameritrade account, this is what I see. The reason I have it this way is because this is, where I've either put, a position in at one point, or have wanted to put a position in, or I'm currently researching, or as from you guys know from, looking at articles at theheraldingcannabis.com, or even, some of the market multiples that I've started to come out. A lot of those take a lot of work, so please be patient, guys. I know it might not look like it, but there's a lot of math involved in those, because those are not just arbitrary numbers. Those are my actual evaluated numbers of what I believe these companies are worth. So, again, the watch list is all of these companies, all of these businesses that I find alluring enough to put all together on one list, and that way I can monitor them at one time. So what sort of metrics and analytics does Thinkorswim give you to look at? Well, as you can see on the left, I keep everything kind of alphabetical. This really just helps me search things faster. To the right of what the company or the ticker symbol is, you see a little kind of snippet or a little snapshot of the daily chart or the daily action for the stock. As you can see, they call it a spark chart. It's kind of cute, right? Next, you have the last, and the last is basically what price the stock in question last traded at. So throughout most of these examples, I'm just going to use Aurora because it's right up at that top. But please, if you see one of these other stocks on here that you might have, feel free to just superimpose their name. So and their information. So as you can see, Aurora's last price was $7.44 before the close of trading. $7.44. If you want to get access to after hours trading information, you have to look at another medium for that. But this is pretty much good enough. Next to that, we have the net change. This shows you what price action change happened throughout the day. So Aurora had 10-cent loss today. Next to that, you have the open price. So Aurora opened at $7.49. Next to that, you have the bid and the ask. Now, we'll definitely go through an additional video on what the bid and the ask are, because those are extremely important. But really quickly, the bid is basically where people are trying to purchase the stock, and the ask is basically where people are trying to sell the stock. Now, the sizes of those, that's both below and to the right of those figures, is basically the amount of shares that are on each of those. So for Aurora, we can see that there are 21 shares currently wanting to be bought at $7.40. On the flip side, there are 37 shares wanting to be sold by someone at $7.57. So that's really kind of just the quick way to look at the bid and the ask and the size. Again, it's extremely important to know what those are, and to kind of see, if the buying or the selling is heavy that day, which one is heavy that day, what that sort of signifies. Again, that'll be with a different video when we look at the level 2 as well as the bid and the ask more in depth. So if we keep scrolling over, you can see that we have the volume. The volume is basically all of the shares traded that day. So the number of shares that were traded that day is the volume. That's extremely important, because if a lot of shares just come into a stock out of nowhere, you'd want to know why, right? Or vice versa. If just everybody stopped trading, you'd want to know why. Next to that, you have the high and the low. That basically shows you what price the stock reached its high during the day, and what the price was, the lowest price was for the day. Next to those, you have the 52-week high and the 52-week low. Those are basically the same sort of numbers, except on the macro scale. So the micro scale shows you kind of what the high and the low was for the day. The macro scale shows you what the high and low has been for the previous year to date. Next to the right of that, we have different sort of metrics that Thinkorswim uses called the quote trends. So The quote trend, as you can see, is blank right now for all these stocks. That's because there's no trading going on right now. During live trading sessions, and only for the stocks that actually have these metrics, so only the big cannabis stocks currently, especially on this list here, only these 4 that you can see that I'm scrolling, have these sort of analytics and metrics from Thinkorswim. This is because all the other stocks on this list, cannabis stocks, are actually over-the-counter stocks, and Thinkorswim or TD Ameritrade doesn't really provide these analytics for over-the-counter stocks. So what they really mean, or what you would see on the quote trend there, is you would see a bunch of colored bars, either going to be red or green, and they would be moving from right to left as trading was going on live. Now, if it was a green bar or a red bar, that really signifies whether that's a buy or a sell, and they have different hues, different colors. I'm sure we'll be able to see at one time, to where I believe that the different colors and hues signify larger or smaller chunks of securities being sold. To the right of that, we have basically what TD Ameritrade is calling or believes the trend of the stock is currently. So as you can see, for the majority of these cannabis stocks that are on this list, TD Ameritrade and Thinkorswim analysts believe that they're in a level plateau. They're just stable. Aurora, Afria, Canopy, Kronos, they all believe are in a steady trend, neutral trend. Whereas if you kind of scroll down a little more, you can see, Canatrust got in big trouble today, so of course they're going to be in a downtrend. Hexo has been in a downtrend rather recently as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. NBev is just going steady. Village Farms, TD Ameritrade believes is in a downtrend. That's curious. 22nd Century Group also kind of just leveled out. So that's basically all of the metrics and analytics that Thinkorswim adds onto these watch lists as a default. Now, if you go up here to this edit button, you can actually change all of the tickers here in your watch list, add or delete them rather quickly there. Or you can even hit this settings button up here, and you actually change what visible columns you have, or even the order of them. So if you feel like the bid or the ask is more important than that spark chart, then you can move that column over there to where that's what you see on your mobile device or your iPad or whatever medium you're utilizing this platform. You can also scroll down here, and you can see that there are other categories, other analytics, other metrics that you can use and add as columns. So if you wanted to just look at some fundamentals and maybe add a market cap or the yield column, you could do that. Or you can even add, I think they even have some studies on here. Yeah, they have some Bollinger Band crossovers. I don't even know what half of these are here. Ichimoku, that's pretty cool. Efficiency ratio, you can do all kinds of things, all different columns that you can add to it. So definitely take a look at that. And again, thanks for hanging out with the Heralding Cannabis here. I hope you guys like these videos. We're gonna do plenty more, whether you like it or not. So subscribe if you do, and also don't forget to head over to theheraldingcannabis.com to check out some of our articles and also those market multiples. As I said the other day, Kush Bottles will have their earnings released, so I will be doing a market multiple on them. I've been doing a lot of their math already. I just need the final numbers once they come out.